This is the Ridgehunter Outdoors podcast. Hey everybody, this is episode 45. I got Nate Burgess and Scott Clark in here with me. I have 3/4 of the whole crew back. So we were just talking a little bit before we got started. Nate, you was doing some camera checking. Seen a few younger bucks, or several younger bucks, and then nothing hard-horned yet.
No.
We was talking about that a little bit too, but what do you got going on there? And that's at the farm, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right there where they all need to be. Seriously, a lot of potential. Don't know where they might all end up. A couple of them look like they might have been more mature bucks, maybe a 4-year-old, but for the most part, all of them's young. None of them are real mature, for sure. But when they all shed velvet, I know they'll move around. I know they won't all stay there. I don't have enough bedding for them to all stay there. But I know they're feeding in the beans around their food plots. Hopefully we'll be taking off after this rain, and then I'll get something to keep maybe a few of them around there. But anyway, lots of next year deer, potentially.
Yeah, that's what I got going on out there up at Tubbsy's place. At least that's what I had last year, so I'm hoping this year is what you're talking about for next year there. We'll should have some decent deer out there if they all stayed, or if they all didn't get shot. So
Yeah.
And up there it'd be hard to tell, because I don't exactly know who all hunts around there, and sometimes it's a revolving door on some of the neighbor properties. So
Yeah.
even if some of them got killed, I don't think I'd know about it. But yeah, you're talking about them all being in velvet, though, and asking if I'd seen any hardhorn, or anybody that had any. And Rodney actually sent me a picture. He sent me it on August 31st. So it was from before then. And he was already hardhorned. So I don't know. It's hard to tell in the picture whether he's got any velvet still hanging off or not. It doesn't really look like it. So he had it all shed for a little while. Not shed, but it was all gone. All the velvet was gone. So now I'd seen one from, I think maybe RHO had posted it a couple weeks before that from somebody. I don't know if it was from them or not. That was hardhorn, but that's about as early as I could remember seeing one.
Yeah.
That's definitely as early as I've seen one on camera of anybody I know.
It's been at least 10 years ago. I had a 6-pointer. He was a big 6-pointer, but he was still probably a 2 or 3-year-old deer. But he was hardhorn on August 6th. That was the earliest I've ever seen, and he was, 3 weeks earlier than any of the other bucks he ran with.
Yeah, that's really early.
I know that doesn't happen all the time, but that's the earliest that I ever had, and I remembered it,
Right.
August 6th.
Yeah, have you checked your camera since the last time?
Well, I checked it. I must have been a malfunction because I didn't have the pictures that I knew I should have had on there. So I don't know if it was a card issue or what, so I went and put another card in it. I haven't talked to Jeff. I think he was going to he may just going to pull his today because he hasn't pulled it for a week. He's sitting on some nice turkeys. Haven't seen a lot of bucks, just a couple bucks. But he's pretty excited about some turkeys that seem to be pretty regular there. So
Yeah, he finally bought the $5 tag to shoot him this year. But the one picture that I saw with the beard dragging the ground was a nice bird.
yeah, he's got that bird sticks around there, and the landowner actually says that they've seen it too. So it's not like it's a fluke just flying through there. So he's pretty excited about that.
Yeah, if he get in there on the ground with that crossbow, that'd be money.
Yep.
Because you wouldn't have to move, not up in the stand. Because the things are born looking up. It's so hard to kill them from a stand, but I think you have a pretty good chance at it, especially if it's that regular. I know they were in there eating his food plot seed a couple of weeks ago. At least that's what he was thinking happened, most of it probably. But you were talking about food plots coming up. So I did the video, I don't remember what day that was now exactly, but went out, sowed the oats, and it was supposed to rain that whole day basically, and it didn't till that night. But nothing, the stuff that I had planted a couple weeks before that Southern Jubilee from Grandpa Ray's, had just barely started coming up, and it was real spotty, but I could tell that it was through the soil. You just couldn't really see it unless you really got to looking for it. So I planted the oats on that, and then that's when Jeff made the comment about it's a good thing the rain came in because the doves were eating all the oat seed that was out there.
Yeah, I did get a few pictures of that.
Yeah. And then we went back to look at it after the rain. What day was that? Thursday? Something like that. Thursday maybe. And I had a whole bunch of radishes coming up and a little bit of buckwheat and stuff. So the stuff that's germinated a little earlier, I think, is coming up. It's starting to look like it's going to fill out pretty good. So obviously the oats weren't yet because they just put them in the ground, but I couldn't see any laying on top. So the rain did its job where the doves got to all of them before it rained. But no, I think I put plenty out there. So I think the rain probably did its job and buried them. So
Yeah.
hopefully those will be coming up here in the next week or so. I'd say it probably looks a lot different today even than it did when we went and checked that camera Thursday. So even 3 days or whatever that is. I guess it's Monday now. We were supposed to record this that night and had an interruption.
Yeah.
So that's why this is coming out a little later. I guess I should apologize for that first of all, because I've been on time with it finally. It's been coming out like midnight on Monday, and then today it's going to be a little later, obviously. But it's a holiday, so that'll be our excuse. No, but that food plot was looking pretty good. You haven't checked yours. Have you got any? Are you running your cell cameras on them yet?
Not yet. I need to get those things out.
So I was going to say you could kind of keep an eye on it from that, but
Correct.
you going to try to get them out pretty soon?
Yeah. I need to. They're very finicky. Those spy points, I can't bash on them for how cheap they are.
Right.
Like every year so far, I've had to buy new SD cards, and you got to download the new, I think it's called firmware. You got to do the update, get it on that card, and then in that camera, and the camera does whatever it does, and then updates. But every year I've had to go buy new cards because it says that the old cards are, I don't know. I'm not very smart with it, but I can figure it out. It takes me a couple hours, but I get there.
Yeah.
So I can't bash on them cameras too much. Guys say if you buy a $300 or $400 camera that they do a lot easier. I'm sure they do, but these guys are pretty cheap and they're working okay.
Yeah, 2 of them for that price.
Yeah.
So I guess they need an update every year, and then you got to reformat the card for that update.
Something like you go on their website and you download the newest, I think they call it firmware, and then you get it on that card, that file on that card, and you put that card in that camera.
Oh, okay.
And then it knows that it's there somehow, and it does it. And the lights blink on there a certain way or something. And then I'll sit there at home and I'll make sure it's taking my picture and sending it to me. Then I'll go put it on the trip. But it takes me a long time to get it all figured out. But it works. It really does. But once I get them up, I should be able to see how those plots are growing without going out there and looking at them. Blake checked his one that was low. It had more moisture in the soil than any of the others when we seeded them.
You seeded them all the same day, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think we talked about that last time, maybe. So was that last weekend? Or was this the first round?
Nah, this was, I think we seeded these things like 16 days ago now.
Okay.
And he's got some stuff up 3 or 4 inches, but it had a lot of moisture in the soil when the seed hit it.
So they were already probably through. They germinated from what soil moisture was there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had one that was, it's lower down there in the sprout patch. It's lower. I had some that was coming through when I checked my cameras 8 days ago. There was some had came up, not too much, but in the lowest spots, there was some that came up. And then yesterday I drove up to that one. There's one that's real easy to get to. We just drove up in the truck and looked at it. And there was some stuff had started coming through. Clover, it had 2 leaves on it. So it's trying to grow, but it only had rain on it for like 5 or 6 days at that point. So I suppose that's where you'd expect it to be.
Yeah, probably. Did you roll all that?
Yeah.
You guys did?
Yeah.
Do you have a cultipacker or that? Yeah,
Yep.
that's right.
One of those Kiwani cultimulchers. It does good. I think it's like 12 foot. Pull it with a little tractor, I borrow that from the neighbors. We got the cultimulcher, but they got the tractor. We don't have a tractor to pull it. So Anyway.
Well, you can just tie a yoke to it and get a workout in.
Yep. But yeah, we roll them in. I feel like if you pack it, you get good soil seed contact. We've always had good luck when we did that.
Mm-hmm. Well, you'd be amazed at the amount of guys that up there at the show was asking about that, whether or not we roll them.
Yeah.
And I told them about what I was telling you last time about just kind of depends on the soil and all that. I don't think I've rolled anything yet this year.
Yeah.
But most of what I worked, I either didn't work it at all because there was enough soil open that I figured I was going to do more harm than good with the weeds and just turning the soil over, or it was heavy enough that I didn't really worry about it. And so far, everything, good reports on everything. So,
yep. A lot of times we would drag them in, with a couple sections of harrow. I do like rolling them. I feel like it finishes it out pretty nice. But we got it there. It's not too hard. You know, everything's, 3/4 of a mile from where the cultimulture sits. So it's not too hard to do it.
It seems like if you're dragging, sometimes you can end up with heavy end-rows and heavy turns.
Yeah.
You're dragging that, for whatever reason, the seed collects on it. Next thing you know, when it comes up, you're a little sparse here, and then there's a big clump. Well, that's where that drag turned around or whatever.
Yeah. We tried that cultimulture. It's got teeth that'll come down. A little, I don't know. They're just tines, and they rearrange the dirt just a little bit. We tried to get to where those things just barely touched, so it flipped just a little dirt over. Sometimes we try to use them, other times we don't. I don't know. I'd like it if I had just a little bit of dirt on top of the seed,
Yeah.
But some of these things worked up just about like flour.
Right.
Some of that was just really, really loose soil. I think just by dragging that thing over, just rolling it, no teeth or anything, I think it ripples the soil in front of that first gang, coming through. I think it ripples it just enough to where it flips it, and buries it just a little.
Which is all you need.
Yeah, all this stuff.
That's all you want.
Yeah, all this stuff was real small seed.
Yeah, that's where a lot of guys run into trouble, and like talking up there that like the cultipacking thing's big now on the Facebook group, so it was hinge cutting for a while, and then it was fire there for the longest time, and now, and I think it's probably time of year has something to do with it too, but now it's you got to have a cultipacker if you're going to do food plots, because if you don't, how are you even doing a food plot?
Yeah.
But they're like cultipacking everything, and I think a lot of guys run into trouble with because some of those have those tines on them you're talking about, like a 1/2 inch long or longer, and then if you've got soil that's already pretty solid or pretty heavy, and then you push that seed down in a 1/2 inch or an inch. If you're talking about clover or some of those brassicas, you're too deep.
Yep.
Which is about the worst thing you can do for them. But
yep.
Anyway, no, that was one of the kind of common questions we had at the show. But I don't guess I've talked to you since we've been up there. Or we haven't really talked about it much either. But Rod went with me. I think you knew that. So he went up and helped me. At least talk to some people. We met several people that are going to be future guests on the podcast.
Yeah.
One guy from the Wild Turkey Federation, and then a guy from this Adventure Sports Outdoors magazine, which is kind of a local deal. He's from Illinois, and it's kind of more local focused on stuff that goes on like Southern Illinois, all through Illinois really. So we'll probably have him on at some point, and we might, like where we do out of the other magazines, we'll probably try to work out of his some, and do that. And then we were right next to the Publicly Challenged podcast, which I think after hearing him, I probably could have ran his booth for him. They were a, what do you say, hunting, fishing, and foraging podcast. And that's basically what he does. They're just a podcast and all that. And he was selling stickers and some T-shirts and stuff, and then promoting the podcast. But we talked to him. We'll probably have him on at some point too. Maybe talk about some public land stuff. He hooked me up with a couple guys that we could potentially have on about land management and then just hunting in general. So got several guests that will get lined up. So that'll be good. I talked to a couple guys that we'd had on before, not at the show, but here recently, that about trying to have them on again. But I did meet our second place finisher from the Big Buck contest last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of, he come up to the booth and like, I almost kind of recognized him, but didn't really know who he was. And he said, Canyon? I wanted to say, who's asking? You know? Yeah, that's me. And then he told me who he was. Okay. But I told him you weren't allowed to be in it this year, so maybe he'd have a chance to win. The ringer wasn't in it. So, no. Well, and speaking of that, we're doing that again, too. It's all set up on the website now. And you just saw the air rifle today. It's in. That'll be the first prize, either that or $500 cash. So it'll be, the prizes are not as high value this year, but it's also only $20 to enter it. So the entry fee has gone down. And then we are still going to do like 3 prizes, though. So and the 2 favorite bucks, which we'll get to vote on if they come in. Last year we had a default winner for one of those because I think of all the guys that registered for the event, we had 5 bucks turned in, 2 by one guy. So, and his second one got him into 3rd place. But so we're doing that again. That registration will be open through the end of September. So this year it's just going to be September 1st to September 30th. And if you're not registered by then, well, you have to wait till next year. So have to be pre-registered for that. It's on the website, Ridgehunteroutdoors.com, and then Big Buck Contest, I think, is the link at the top of the page, and you can go see that. But like I said, it's only $20, and then that air rifle, it's a Benjamin PCP Armada 22 caliber, shoots like 1,100 feet a second. It's got a pretty nice scope on it, a bipod. I think a guy could put a hurting on some squirrels and possums and raccoons, tin cans or blackbirds or crows or whatever's legal.
That's definitely an assault air rifle.
It is.
That's right.
It's borderline illegal. I'm surprised they let me go pick it up and bring it across county lines. But yeah, no, I thought it was a decent little air rifle, though. When I say little, it's actually pretty good size. Pretty substantial. Kind of heavy, but that's what the bipod's for, I guess. So, no, we're going to do some videos on that. I think we'll get that out and shoot it at, we'll find something to shoot it at and do some videos for that. But back to the show, another thing I saw that was interesting up there, which I don't know if we'd talked about it with Lyle about his 3D range, and he was talking about wanting to have a moving target when we were up there. But there's a company that has an indoor version and an outdoor version that you stick the 3D target on, and it's just this little box with tires, and you can drive it around with remote controlled, so you have a moving target, 3D target. Or they make hitches for them where you can do like those ATV mowers and stuff, like a finish mower or a little brush cutter that has the motor on it and everything, so it's not PTO or anything like that. But they've got hitches on them, and you can GPS program it into the system, and that thing will just drag it around and mow for you and all that, so you can mow your yard or your food plots or whatever. You just put the GPS coordinates in like they do the tractors now. Hit start, and it'll go mow your food plot for you. Yeah, it was an interesting little deal, and I'll have to see if I can find the name of it. But no, I was thinking we were talking about that. We were talking about Lyle wanting one of those for the 3D thing, wanting a moving target.
I think so. I know some guys that rigged up. They had a turkey target on a clothesline that they stretched through the woods.
Yeah, years ago we did that. Jeff Fry, as a matter of fact.
Oh, really? You guys had one?
Yeah, he's the one that had fishing pole. So you put the turkey on a cable. And of course, you had to have a substantial place for the guy to hide. Because you only had a small window to shoot from. The guys would pull up, and Jeff had a fishing line and a rod and reel hooked up to the turkey. So when he let it go, the turkey would slide down the cable, and the guys had a short window to shoot it. And then when it got to the end of it, well, then Jeff would reel it back in with the fishing line. And then for the next guy to shoot. Oh, yeah.
Substantially cheaper than these things, I'm guessing. But
well,
this is
it depends. Jeff could drink a little beer at a time.
This is Specialized Robotic Solutions. So their banner says multi-arrow, multi-range without the walkout. So that's their other big selling thing. Like you could shoot the target and then drive it back to you without having to walk and get your arrows.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I need this thing.
There's their booth. And that big one there with the wheels on it was their off-road version he's talking about with putting the mower on and all that, GPS and that stuff in. But I thought it was interesting. And I thought those things got to be pretty thick steel on there because they're getting shot. And I would think airless tires. You'd have to have a solid tire on that. Knowing the guys that I shoot with, it would probably end up, well, you'd either end up buying some tires or end up with an arrow through the computer of that thing and catch it on fire.
He's like, oh no, I shot your box again.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah. Not that Jeff would do that either. If he was the only one there. Or a light. Apparently he shot a light out at the archery shop. Maybe we told that story before too, but
back when I decided I wanted a lighter trigger on my caliper release, I bet you I was only 15 or 16. I saw it had a set screw there, and I thought, that's what that's for, and I started backing that thing off. By the second time I pulled it back, that thing let go most of the way drawn, and I hit one of those light guards up there at that place where I was shooting, and that guy in there, whoa, what happened? He came running out there, and I'm standing there, black dust in the air from that arrow, Yeah. And I had to tell him, I thought I knew what I was doing. He said, yeah, tighten that down and don't mess with it again.
That's a good idea. I don't know if I was with Tubbsy. Might have been. We were hunting, and I had just one of those Velcro wrist strap releases, the caliper, like you're talking about, index release, and it was probably on its last legs at that time. And a doe walked by, and it was late in the morning, like 9 or 10 o'clock, and we hadn't shot anything that year and hadn't seen any deer that day. It's like, yep, this is happening. And it was like 50 yards probably, and I'm drawing down on this doe, and I get about all the way back, and that release breaks, because I used to shoot with my hand open or whatever, I wouldn't hold on to it, and the wrist strap broke, and it made the god-awfulest noise and smacked the riser on my bow, and the arrow went flying. Tracked pretty good, but it didn't make it all the way there. But no, that was pretty bad. I had no idea what happened at the time until I looked down and realized that I still had my wrist strap on and there was no release in my hand.
Yep.
Yeah. It flung it off the string, left a big mark on the riser of the bow. Yeah, it was quite the ordeal. Needless to say, the deer ran off.
Yep.
Yeah, it made a lot of noise. But have you always shot the index release?
I've got a thumb release. I don't like it.
Yeah. Is it back tension, or is it just the thumb?
Just a thumb.
Okay.
Yeah. I shot a back tension 2 or 3 times. I thought, I don't need that thing. I know they make you a decent shot, but I can't do it.
For target shooting, I think it'd be nice. And a lot of guys use them to hunt with.
Mm-hmm.
And I've thought about it, but to me, it's like, I need to know when that thing's going.
Me too. I have target panic. I know I have target panic. So far, I ain't been able to get over it. I know that that's a release that's supposed to help you get over it. Mm-hmm. I ain't there yet.
I never could shoot a back tension, but I never did target shoot real serious like the guys that have them.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of guys hunting with them now. I just, I want to be the one breaking the shot, not because I get being surprised by it. It's going to be a little smoother and everything, and you're pulling back through it and all that, so your form's better or whatever. And like you said, it does make you a better shot. But man, if I wanting to go, and then all of a sudden that leg moves back, and now I've got the scapular or whatever right in the way.
Yeah.
But the release decides it's time to go.
Yeah. Or a hinge. I've shot a hinge more than I've shot a back tension. A hinge with a click in it was always the best. I did better with it, but I still didn't like it. You know, you're trying to get that thing rolled through there, and then all of a sudden it'd pop right there in your ear. You know, you tense up like a bird dog on point. And I just I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I think I've got a True Fire Hardcore index finger release, and I do like it okay. It's fairly smooth. I like it okay. That thumb release, I want to like it, but I don't. I just don't.
As long as you're not punching the trigger, I think the index finger's all right too.
And I can get down. I can touch that trigger. You know, I ain't slapping it.
Right.
But I've got target panic bad. I really do.
And there's some high level guys, we'll call them, that use the index finger release too. So it's not like, I think a lot of people get caught up in seeing some of the more famous guys using all the back tension, and they think, man, that's what you got to do. But it's more about comfort than anything.
Yeah.
Which is most of archery, I think. A lot of it being a good shot. If you're not comfortable, you're not going to shoot well. We're talking about needing to get out and shoot Lyle's 3D course too.
Mm-hmm.
You had to get your bow out and shoot it one of these days.
I never was that good at 3D targets.
I'm not either, but it's kind of fun to go out and shoot. Something different than just shooting at the target in the backyard.
As long as I can find my arrows.
Mm-hmm. That's the only thing that makes me nervous about it, is because last time we went, we had 4 guys shooting, and I don't have an unlimited amount of arrows. We don't have an arrow sponsorship, so I'm still buying all my own, whether they're at dealer price or not. That's still money. So, if you shoot first, you're just taking a gamble that those other 3 guys aren't going to split your arrow on accident.
Yep.
Fortunately, I was most of the time didn't hit it good enough to worry about at least 2 of the other guys. But Roger, I don't know how he might have been right behind me on some of my shots. He could have hit mine pretty easy, but no, it was a pretty good little course. Really, it had some antelope and some deer, maybe a groundhog or 2.
Yeah.
No Sasquatch or anything like that I remember. Mountain lion. But yeah, we'll have to go do that before the season starts.
Yep.
I'd like to go do it anyway again. Have you shot much at all yet?
No.
No?
Not at all.
You got about a month.
Oh, it's pitiful.
Yeah.
Pitiful.
It is what it is. Guy gets busy, I guess. I was doing pretty good there for a while.
Yeah.
And then I haven't shot in a couple weeks now, probably. But have you shot since last year?
I was trying to remember. No, I haven't.
I still got one bow that I need to get tuned that we were messing with last year, and decided one of the cams was out of time, and get some strings put on it. Then I'm probably due for strings on my other bow too, but I haven't got any for it. But they seem to be doing okay. Keep them waxed, so. No, it's just still shooting good though. I was telling you, I was thinking about the new Bear, the hunting public bow. I think it's the Adapt.
Yeah.
It's just a single cam. Nothing real fancy about it. It's pretty, like 55 to 70 pound limbs is the higher option on it, so it's pretty adjustable. It's supposed to be real easy to tune. Like 330 feet a second, so it's not like the big speed bow. Of course, single cam, it's not bad, but
yeah.
No, I thought about doing that, but I think I'll just stick with what I got for now. I'm going to have to buy a new shotgun for duck season, so.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, remind me to tell you about decoys when we get done.
Okay.
I can't say it on here because it's top secret stuff.
Okay.
Don't want anybody knowing about it. Not that people already don't, but yeah, I'll tell you about that. So, anyway.
Top secret.
Well, mid-tier secret at least.
Okay.
At least a middle secret.
Okay.
So, what else is going on?
Not too much.
You got anything else to get ready for the season?
I need to check all the stands.
I still have to do that too.
I actually got, I was telling you about it, one of them tower blinds. I got one of them.
Did you get one?
Yep. It's in 3 boxes in the back of the truck right now.
Oh, boy.
Yep. That's going to be fun to put together.
Is that going to be your project today, or is that another day kind of thing?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm off tomorrow, too.
Oh, are you?
Yep.
Oh, that's right. Tuesday, it's your regular day off.
But we'll probably grain binning tomorrow. We pretty much got this last one built. Got to get the floor in it still. But anyway, when I was coming down here, I saw a guy that had his combine sitting in the edge of the field. They still ought to give it a couple of weeks, But a lot of them guys, like I know down at Carmi, they're shelling. They've been shelling for like a week down there. I thought somebody between Fairfield and Albion was shelling.
Yeah, they seem to do. There's a couple guys over there go pretty early.
I mean, we're like 3 weeks late this year. Later than normal.
Well, it depends on
last year.
Some guys got it in before the rain, I think, and then we had all that rain in the spring, like you're talking about. There was a lot of guys that were later.
Yep. Or they just planted in the mud.
Yeah. Or just went to beans. I know one guy we know. They decided it got late enough. They just decided to put everything in beans, so they didn't do any corn at all this year.
Yeah.
But yeah. Joe was telling us there the other day that they were getting close to shelling. So,
yeah.
But, anyway.
Some of these guys, man, they're just shelling it however soon they can and drying it, you know.
Yeah, well, they got a lot of guys have dryers now. Mm-hmm. That seems to be a big thing.
Some of them got enough corn they got to start or else they'll never get done. Mm-hmm. You know, I know that's a thing too.
And some of them don't care; they just shell corn in November, which is not great for hunting.
Yeah,
but so you're putting up a grain bin tomorrow.
Yep.
And then you're gonna.
It's up and hanging on the jack stands. We're waiting for
big windstorm or.
Nah, there's we do have it anchored down. It is anchored, but not completely. We don't have the seal on the bottom. He's waiting on those parts to come in. Mm-hmm. But we did go ahead and anchor it down, but it's still hanging on the jack stands too. It won't go anywhere. But we got to get that in, and then get the floor in and everything. Set some fans and everything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's been a big project the last couple of weeks. Working on one of the combines. But yeah, it's as late as everything's going to be this year. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're still probably a month away from doing any field work, I think.
Yeah.
Some of those early beans might be coming around, though. I've seen some bean fields turning quicker than some of the corn looks like it's drying. Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah, it's October. I'm not going to be hunting much in October. I'm going to be we'll be in the field.
Yeah. Corn there, Jeff's starting to turn a little bit. Some of it.
A little bit.
The beans still look really good. Well, the corn looks good too. There's a couple of places where it's kind of short, but the beans, they got some. They're putting on, quite a bit, or they have put on quite a bit. They're not turning yet, but we planted all that at the same time. So I forget. I think it was April maybe. But anyway, no, you're talking about this blind you got. Mm-hmm. Can you say what it is?
It is a Radix. I don't know how you say it. RADIX.
I'll have to look it up.
Yep. I think they're out of Iowa. 5-foot or 10-foot platform. It is a soft blind. Mm-hmm. They look pretty nice. I got in one before I bought it. There's a guy up the road here. He's going to be a dealer. Not a bad price. $1,200 plus tax on that.
Mm-hmm. Considerably cheaper than the hard blinds.
Correct. But, I mean, it's just as big as a hard blind.
Yeah.
Very sturdy. Mm-hmm. Like, I got up in there, the first thing I did was get up in there and shake like an ape, you know, see if I could make it make noise or rock.
Yeah.
And it did not. I was very impressed with that. Mm-hmm. I figured I'd get up in the thing and it'd creak and, you know, sound like an old house. It did not. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
A guy could put a heater up there. It's not going to be as tight as a hard blind for sure. But still, I think a guy could put a heater up there if he wanted to.
Oh, yeah, it'll hold some heat down.
Yep. The material feels real heavy.
Yeah, it's almost like a canvas.
Yep.
Or, yeah.
I think it'll last. Kaylee's super excited.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to know what kind of big chair she can have in there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Put her recliner in there.
Yep. It's got stakes and then a big cable. You cable it down in the middle with a great big old stake with a screw on the end of it. You know, you bore that thing in the ground and then you put a cable on there with a turnbuckle, suck it down hard, and then you stake it. But I mean, yeah, it's solid. It honestly is solid.
Yeah. They were up there at the show, and I stopped and looked at a couple of theirs, and yeah, that's not the type of blind I was expecting it to be, but it feels like it ought to be pretty durable.
Yep.
You know, like they ought to last a while.
Yep.
So you could probably leave it out there longer than your typical ground blind.
Yeah. They say, I think they say 3 to 5 seasons on the covers. Covers aren't expensive. You can buy more covers. Comes with the floor in it and everything. Every piece of steel is powder coated. I mean, it looks pretty nice. And I never ever got it to creak or pop or anything when I was rocking around on it because I was just sure it would. It didn't.
Yeah, some of the guys that I worked for last fall had basically just regular blinds up on a similar type of stand, and they had left them up for the whole year.
Yeah.
They were no longer blinds. It was more like a kite when they got back to it.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about doing that there at the cabin because they don't really have a good tree for that second food plot. I got that ground blind. I'm thinking about just building a platform for it out of wood, like 4 or 5 feet tall. And just being up a little bit in that blind, and then obviously I'll have to find a way. I'll have to tie it down to the stand somehow, like the platform But then take it down at the end of the season, but it's no big deal. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think if you're looking for something more permanent and you don't want to spend the money on the solid blind, that I mean, we'll see once you get it out there and use it, but it seems like a pretty good idea.
You could buy 3 of these things before you could buy one of those big, you know.
Like a Muddy or
Yeah.
what's the other big one?
Redneck, Muddy, Banks, 360s.
Speaking of 360s, have you seen the RHO 360 blinds?
Like the see-through?
Yeah, where you can see all around.
Yep.
It's like a two-way material on it. So you sit on the inside of it, and you can look out, and you can see out all the way around 360 degrees, but you can't see in it. So it's kind of cool. You keep all your windows up that you don't need to shoot out of and still see out.
Yep.
I thought about, because one of the distributors that I can get stuff from gets them, and I thought about trying one of those, even up on that platform, but I don't know if I want to spend the money on it yet or not. It seems like a good idea.
Yeah. I have no idea how they do that.
I wonder how many guys shoot through those things not remembering that they're in a blind.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see the different backdrops. If it's truly you can't see through it.
Like if you get it up in the air and you can see, you might be able to see the sunlight through
depending
it.
on where the sun's at, you know. Okay, you can't see through it on this side, but you can because the sunlight's shining through it on this side or something.
Yeah, that's possible. I don't know how that works, but it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
The one I got is supposed to be a 2-man blind, and you could get one guy in there with a bow and another guy with a camera. It would be kind of tight, but the Radix or whatever it is, however you pronounce it, seemed like, I forget what size they were, but they seem pretty sizable. Like you could get big. 2 guys in there pretty easy.
Yeah, they're big.
They're not. Are they 5 foot across?
I think they're 6.
Are they 6? I didn't know if they were 6 or not.
They're big.
They might be.
Me and Rodney were up in there together. The guy that sells them, we were up in there together. Plenty of room. A guy would absolutely be able to shoot a bow in there with another guy, no problem. I was standing up. I wasn't ducking or anything, you know. Curious how, of course, the lower you are, being up in the air, you got to have a lot of adjustability to shoot that bow. You know, you got to be able to get down real close to you, but then all the way,
like with
shoot
the,
out. I mean, sitting on the ground, you only need a vertical adjustment of 2 or 3 inches to cover your whole range, you know, from 10 yards to 50, you know. But being up in the air, you got to have a lot of room to do that, you know. That won't be a problem with this thing.
Yeah, it's got pretty good sized windows on it.
You've got the room.
And it's got, this has the vertical windows too or not?
Yeah.
I was thinking it did.
4 horizontal, 4 vertical.
Yeah, and even the horizontal ones are big enough to shoot a bow out of.
They are.
Yeah.
Yep. And how I'm going to have it, where I'm going to have it there, I will only really be shooting out of half of the blind, because I will not have a shot behind me where I'm going to be at on that food plot in the edge of that thicket. I'm really excited. I think it's going to work.
Yeah.
I hope the deer don't freak out when they see it, you know.
And even if they do the first time or two, you know.
Yep. They'll get used to it.
As long as there's nothing up there shooting at them the first time or two.
Yep.
Yeah.
Slinging arrows immediately.
Yeah. Also up there at the show, the working class guys were up there, and they put on the after party and whatnot. And I don't think they had the turnout they wanted for it. There wasn't as many people stuck around because really it was a pretty good show as far as people go. It was, well, it was Saturday morning was pretty good, like until about noon. It was about like Iowa was, but where Iowa was like that all day, both days, it was only like that till about noon, 1 o'clock, and then after that it was just pretty slow with people, and there was a small influx at about 5 o'clock, you know, somewhere in there. But then the show closed at 8, and then they had their after party afterwards, and there just weren't that many people left over there. Most of the people who stayed were vendors or exhibitors. So, but no, it was a pretty good show though. They did a good job putting it on. They had what's his first name, Huff, that shot the big buck over there in Indiana.
Dustin,
yeah. So apparently he's a musician as well. So he played guitar and played a few of his original songs, just acoustic, and it was pretty good. And then, of course, they had his buck up there on the stage with him.
Yeah.
And that's Yeah. Was it up there in Iowa when we were there?
I thought the horns were.
Maybe that's right. They hadn't got it done yet.
No, I think they did. I can't
remember.
I think it was there somewhere.
Did we see it?
I think we did.
Was it with the big buck?
No, I thought they had it in the exhibit hall.
You may be right.
I thought they had it in somebody's booth.
Yeah, I think it was. But anyway, seeing that thing in person is, yeah. Even from back looking at it up on the stage, you could tell just how wide and heavy and tall that thing is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can't imagine what it looked like walking through the woods.
Oh, man.
He said he named it Moose when he saw it walking through the woods at him.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know if that was the only time he saw it or what, but that was an appropriate name.
Yeah.
So anyway, he played some music, and it was pretty good. And then a guy named Cody Christian came on after him, and me and Rod ended up leaving early so we could go eat supper because a lot of places close kind of early around there, even on the weekends. But anyway, I thought it was a good little show they did. They had one of those, like, semi-trailer stages. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen one of those? Mm-hmm. So it opens up on one side and got the roof on it, which it was basically a metal box pulled up into a metal box. So not the best for sound quality, but it was a good show either way. So I thought they did a good job with that. Hopefully they'll have more people show up next year, but maybe you'll get to go and they'll do it next year. But I was pretty impressed with the show overall, especially for being canceled the last 2 years. And people showing up. Now, the guy next to us said the deer and turkey show, which is what Jeff was talking about in Peoria, that they used to have all the time. Well, they'd quit doing it, which is why they started the Deer and Beer Fest. And then when they didn't have the Deer and Beer Fest last year, they brought back the Deer and Turkey Classic in March. And he said there were just people lined up out the door all over that place for that show. Yeah. So, if it doesn't fall in the same weekend or as Iowa, we might try to go to that one too next year. It's like it might be pretty good. I would like to try to go to more of those just to promote this, if nothing else. But no, he said it would be worth going to. Yeah. So as long as it's not falling on Iowa, because I think it'd be hard to beat that show. Yeah. It's a little more expensive to set up and stuff, but for the amount of people that are there, I think it probably evens out. But we did good up there too. The Sunday was pretty busy in the morning. I say in the morning, really about midday, like after church, so about 11 to 1 o'clock was pretty good. Had to slow down after that, but more people, more interest on Sunday, I guess. Mm-hmm. They said a lot of the people were kind of avoiding. There were two different crowds, basically. Like if you wanted to come do the whole more of the beer fest than the deer fest, you were there on Saturday, and if you want to do more of the deer fest, you were there on Sunday. So it was kind of a good mix of two different crowds and different people coming in and out. But no, we got some of the word out on the scent, and then the podcast. Obviously, I was wanting to hopefully record something while we were there, but I didn't make Rodney do that. So, and I didn't make him stand up there by himself while I recorded something. So we didn't do that. But no, it was a good show. I got hopefully several new listeners. Hopefully they're listening to us babble right now. So I told everybody if it sucks, just to let us know. So that still goes. If this sucks, then just leave us a comment on YouTube or send us an email. Or I don't know if you can leave anything on Spotify or not, but you can always email us or get on the website and say, hey, your podcast sucks, do something different. But which is kind of what we're going to do. We're going to have some more guests on. I think that's good. So some interesting guys, like I said, that we found up there. But that's pretty much all I got for today, unless you got anything else you want to talk about. All right. Again, sorry for the late episode on this holiday, but we did get it up. And if you want to support the podcast, go to ridgehunteroutdoors.com. You can find all of our stuff there that I was talking about with the deer scent. The buck tarsal spray, which is in stock. We got some of the doe tarsal spray in stock. The boot spray and the calming spray will be in stock hopefully around the first week in October, and you can get that then. We talked about it last time, but you were using the calming spray last year. Had some pretty good luck with it. Yep. I used it a little bit. It's similar to the Evercalm that you see, but this is all natural stuff. So just like the deer scents, it's all natural and all that. So you can go on there. You can also get t-shirts and hats or whatever. Support us that way. We're hopefully going to have some new stuff coming out here in the next couple months as well. Going to have some more time to focus on this and what we're doing here, so that'll help. The other ways you can support is going to Rack's Big Game Supplements, their website, racksmineral.com. They're a veteran-owned company out of northeast Nebraska. just regular deer hunters who developed their racks products through years of research, and they came up with what we kind of think are some of the best mixes available that help improve your herd's overall health while not feeding non-target species like the raccoon. So they've got protein blocks, minerals, pelletized feed, meal feed, all specifically designed for whitetails. And if you want to go and get that stuff, you can use our discount code RHO22 at checkout and get 5% off your order. So it'll at least save you some stuff on shipping, because that stuff's not cheap right now, especially the heavier bags and stuff. And then if you don't want to pay for shipping at all, just stop in the shop here in town and you can see what we have in stock or order what we don't. Obviously, that's for the out-of-state guys, because we can't use that stuff here in Illinois. So, the other sponsor we got, who we had with us up there at the show, and if you guys stopped by the booth, you saw them, RHO Outdoors. We talked to several people about them, handed out some pamphlets and stuff. Hopefully helped him out a little bit. He specialized, John is the guy up there at RHO's. We had him on episode, I think it was 42. I'm not 100% sure of that, but you can go find it. It's early 40s. He runs RHO Outdoors. They specialize in the best nutrition for whitetail deer on your property, starting with the soil. They've got a full line of high-quality food plot seed and plant foods. They were started in 2015, but John's been in the business since 1991, which we covered kind of in-depth on that episode. They've got over 14 different food plot blends to choose from, so you're not going to have any trouble finding what you're looking for, whether it's fall blends, spring blends, if you want grains, switchgrass for screening. They've also got liquid fertilizers and soil test kits. You name it, they've got it. I'm going to try to start carrying some more of their stuff on hand as well for next spring. They're not just about selling their products, though. They'll answer any questions you got, and that's one of the biggest things I was telling guys up there at the show. Like, even just from talking to John for that 45 minutes or whatever, you could tell he's a super knowledgeable guy. So I think if you had any questions about anything food plot related, you could ask him. And even if by some chance he didn't know, I think he has the resources where he could find the answer for you and get back to you. And I think he would, too.
Yeah.
He seemed like that kind of guy. So, like us, he doesn't believe in the cookie cutter approach either. So he'll treat your situation individually. He's not just going to tell you, like, this is what you need to do, and this will bring big deer in no matter whether you're in Wisconsin or Georgia. So he's going to take everything into consideration, just kind of like what we do on our consultations and whatnot. And they're not about a fancy label or package. They're about good quality seed and taking care of their clients. We've used their seed blends, put a lot of their stuff in the ground this year. I don't know how many tens or hundreds of pounds of their seed that we've put down, but I'm excited about seeing it all come up. Everything we've planted in the past has worked well, and like you got their stuff on your place this year, so that'll be good to see. Hopefully we'll get out there and do some videos on that if you want to one of these days.
Yep, we can.
And then we got all that coming up. I still got some stuff to plant at the cabin when I get all that going, which finally done with deer heads, so that's going to get done here in the next week or two. If the rain holds out, hopefully this week. But anyway, go check those guys out, GrandpaRayOutdoors.com. You can use discount code RHO Podcast. It's all lowercase, no space, to get 5% off your order there as well. So again, that'll help with shipping, or it'll take a little bit off the top of some of that seed blend. And if you're looking for something you don't really know what you want, and you don't really want to send an email or anything, John told us that one of his favorite blends is that Grains and Greens. It's a pretty good mix. It's got like the rye, the wheat, the triticale, which is a hybrid of the rye and the wheat, and then he's got some brassicas in there as well. I'm going to put some of that down and some of his Frosty Delight there at the cabin. I put some of his Inner Sanctum down there at Jeff's, the Southern Jubilee. I know you've put down some Inner Sanctum and some Elite.
Yep.
And
Mass Builder.
Fall Draw.
Mass
Builder, yep. So several different things that we'll get to see how they work and how much the deer like them and all that. So excited to see that as well. And we'll share that stuff with you guys like on Facebook, or when we start doing the video again, we'll get some pictures up, maybe from trail camera pictures or something, or a deer in the plots and all that. Or if we do some video, maybe we'll get to do some hunting again this year and have a little better luck than last year.
Yep.
I know it wasn't a bad hunt, but maybe we'll get to see some bucks out.
Yeah.
Not just the rear end.
Yes.
Right at first daylight. But anyway, you won't hold out on me and you'll kill the deer on camera instead of waiting 2 weeks.
Yes.
Now, anyway, go check them out. That's all I got for this week, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you again next Monday.